Good morning. Thank you for joining us today in person and online for our 10th annual State of the Department talk. This is not actually the 10th year, but the beginning of the 10th year, and I look forward, hopefully, to talking about some exciting things even in the year to come. Our theme today is clearly different than usual, a time to heal, and of course, that's a reflection of the challenging times we've been through over the last 2 years. So, as opposed to most conversations, I'm looking forward to really talking with the department about how we all need to take care of ourselves and each other as we go through this report. So again, I thank you for joining us and looking forward to sharing with you details about what has transpired over the past year in terms of the accomplishments and progress of the department. As always, a disclaimer, I wish I could thank and recognize everyone in this department for everything they do. The hour does not allow it, but I hope everyone knows how appreciative we all are of each other's contributions, and I certainly, for one, am, and very much so. There are unshown images. There's deserving faculty, residents, and staff, and we appreciate all of you. Any misattributions, and I suspect there may be a few, again, I apologize. There's a lot going on, and please share with me anything that I might have missed. And as always, for those who came early watching the turkeys and the various other things going on, my thanks to Scott Holmes, who's helped me put this together as always, and some very beautiful graphics as usual. So let me begin again with a recap of the department. We have continued to grow in the past year. We, as in the past, represent 12 divisions. As our students who are online, and we look forward to meeting our applicants today, might know, our department comprises divisions and specialties ranging from abdominal and cardiothoracic transplantation to plastic surgery, acute care surgery, and trauma, and the like. We today stand as 230 faculty members, including 61 APPs, one of the largest departments in the country. In total, we include about 550 faculty, staff, and trainees. Again, as Paul Bristol, administrator, likes to say, larger than most U.S. companies, and quite an affair to take care of. 100,000 patient visits, over 30,000 surgical cases across the campus, working at 5 primary hospital affiliates as depicted there. This year, thanks to the leadership of Scott Lemaire and the great contributions of all our physician scientists, we topped $7 million in NIH funding. We'll talk about that a bit more in a few minutes. Our 130 residents and fellows are better than ever, tremendous accomplishments. We'll talk about that as well. Comprising 16 different residencies and training programs, and together our faculty and residents generated over 450 peer-reviewed articles, again, a high benchmark. We are most appreciative for the support of our residents who last year on our ACGMA survey gave us a 92% approval rating, as strongly or totally agree with our function. This past year, U.S. News and World Report again recognized us. We were recognized by U.S. News as the 13th best program for surgery. This represents a back-to-back consecutive rankings of 13 after our debut in 2020 at the rank of 15. As depicted on the right, you can see that we are in very good company, flanked by Northwestern and Mayo, with Yale, University of Washington, and my alma mater, Cornell, slightly behind, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. To achieve that, as depicted here, we have become a tremendously complex organization. We're going to talk about our 4 missions, our mission offices in a little bit, but none of this would be possible without just this tremendously complex infrastructure supporting our residents, our scientists, our faculty, and all of our staff members. Really, in the last 2 or 3 years, our mission offices that really lead the effort of making sure we stay on track in terms of our accomplishments have really matured into highly functioning organizations into themselves, as depicted here. These include the Office for Clinical Excellence, the Office for Surgical Research, the Education Office, and our newest office, the Office for Outreach and Inclusion, that is led jointly by Dr. Michelle Lohr, Dr. John Goss, and our communications team led by Chad Wilson, Dr. Chad Wilson, and Dr. Sebastian Winokur, all playing hugely important functions, making the department work effectively or to the best of our ability. In the last year, we successfully launched what we've called the Mission Council. This is a meeting of the vice chairs and leadership of the 4 missions in a way that we can cross-fertilize ideas, share notes, talk about what each group is doing to more effectively integrate these efforts. And really, this represents a progression of growth in the department in the early days, and we all know where we stood back 9 or 10 years ago. The focus was on our clinical mission primarily. We then evolved, and in 2014 really had an opportunity to focus on enhancing our education mission. In the past couple of years, our research mission, led by Dr. Lemaire and Dr. Troutner, took primary focus. And towards the end of this talk, I think with those missions really running very effectively, I would like to propose to the department that we pivot and focus on our outreach and inclusion, and in particular, a focus on the well-being of each and every member of this department is a key contributor. In part, to achieve those goals and make sure we're aligned with the goals and the mission of the college, with our Mission Council now in place, we began something brand new for our department, but very similar to what the college is already deploying for their chairs and center directors, and that is a mission-directed review of our leadership. So this past year, our vice chairs and our division chiefs all were evaluated, as depicted on the right, based upon the mission goals that the college outlines for me and Paul Bristol as our in the department, and for all the chairs across the college. We combine this with a 360-degree evaluation, never anything short of a daunting moment of introspection of our chairs and our chiefs, and I think that ended up being a very, very valuable exercise, and we look forward to continuing those efforts for even further introspection and self-evaluation. Aligned with the mission of supporting our staff, the new metrics that we're going to be adding to our leadership goals will be our sponsorship and support of our staff, our faculty, our residents, our success and retention, and our success in terms of generating satisfaction surveys of all of our members of our department that we all can be proud of. In line with that, this year we were fortunately, with the support of the college, be able to reinstitute our academic RVU program, which had been on hiatus in part because of the pandemic over the last 2 years. This academic RVU program, which was developed Dr. Lemaire and our other department leadership, has now totaled $1.1 million in award, really reflecting our commitment to the academic mission. This year, those awards, which included $7,500 for our top 10% of faculty and $4,500 for the top 33%, were awarded to about a third of our faculty. This reflects a slightly lower number than normal because of COVID issues, but through Paul Bristol's great efforts and the support of the college, Joe Doty and Dr. McDevitt, we this year have embedded an academic RVU component to our upcoming budget, so we will be assured of being able to go forward with academic RVU ability to recognize the academic contributions of our department. So where have we come? Our growth has continued over the last 10 years. We, in that time, have recruited a total of 145 faculty recruits, 35 in the past 3 years. This represents is reflected in a 97% retention rate and includes 32 promotions in the past 3 years. Notably, and we'll talk about this in a minute, 3 of our 7 professor recruitments have been women. The distribution of this faculty is depicted here. I will not go into a lot of detail in this regard, other than to say about a third of our faculty over at TCH, 28% are at St. Luke's, and 13% are at Baylor, dedicated to the research and education mission. Amongst the recruits are 3 very, very exciting new leaders. Livia Eberlein, who joined us a couple of months ago. Livia, as we've previously introduced her to you, comes from University of Texas, Austin, previously had been at Stanford, and as we've noted previously, amongst her many accomplishments, she is a MacArthur Fellow, won the MacArthur Award, which Billy Cohn reminded us is in the vernacular known as the Genius Award, given out each year to only about 20 or 30 of the very top thinkers in the nation. Olivia will be leading our Instinct program. We'll talk a little bit more about that. and we could not be more excited and thank Dr. Mary Dickinson for her support in allowing us this tremendous recruit. Next joining us will be Dr. Martin Zielinski, who will be joining us from Mayo Clinic, where he's a professor of surgery, to be the chief of our new acute care and trauma and acute care division. Dr. Zielinski comes to us with accolades nationally, highly recognized, and we're very, very excited to add this key component to the department leadership. And finally, in what is a tremendously exciting passing of the baton, I want to announce that Dr. Mark Moon, if all things fall in place, will be joining us in February. He will hold truly in a watershed moment, a unique role being chief both of the Division of Cardiothoracic Surgery in the Department of Surgery, and at the same time, the chief of cardiac surgery at the Texas Heart Institute. Really bring full circle the merger, hopefully, of Baylor and Dr. DeBakey and Texas Heart and Dr. Cooley. And for all of you who know the history of this great department and the contributions of those two great leaders, really brings together a synergy that in many cases is almost unthinkable. And I think it ushers in an exciting, very exciting new moment in the history of our institution. Mark will be coming to us from WashU, where he's chief of cardiac surgery and director of the aortic disease program. He is trained at Stanford University and is past president of the AATS, which is the oldest and most prestigious cardiac surgery program in the world. I want to especially recognize the contributions of our current chief of cardiac surgery, Dr. Joe Caselli, who is instrumental and really led the way in recruiting of Mark, and I think in the most selfless and unimaginable way represents a true dedication and commitment to the missions of the college and the department in successfully making this transition from a heritage that goes back to DeBakey and Stanley Crawford to Dr. Caselli, and now will be handed to Dr. Moon, as Joe has just beautifully staged and led this succession plan to maintain continuity of an iconic transformation. Our recruits also include our incoming class of faculty depicted here on the left and also on the right under the moniker of DeBakey Surgeon, which you all have been seeing more and more of, and we're very excited to introduce as the moniker for our department or department of faculty. And I think we can all be very, very proud of all of our new recruits, including a number of returning residents, which I think speaks very, very highly of the support and consideration of the values and worth of our department. This recruit, which hopefully was obvious to all, represents almost all women, represents a continuation of a growth in diversity of the department as depicted here. Back in 2012, we were composed of 45% white males, 24% women, and currently we stand at 36% white males, white Caucasians, and 35% women, which is a 2.5 times increase in the number of women that largely has occurred through what has been a very, very diverse recruitment over the past 9 years, as depicted here, and where 70% of our recruits have been either women or underrepresented minorities. I think a benchmark that we can all be very proud of. But we still have our work cut out for us, and as everyone here knows, the path from assistant professor to professor is a long one, composed of over 10 years of achievement and progress. And as you can see here, although we have made tremendous strides in a greater diversity at the assistant professor level, with the number of women in our department at the assistant professor level having increased from 31% to 50%, we have not quite made the same dent in the number of women who are professors. And as we'll talk about in a minute, that will represent subject of ongoing work amongst our efforts. We've also added many new staff depicted here that will help us on our administrative mission to support our faculty and residents. And we are thrilled to welcome many of these: Amanda May leading our communications program, Bertie Taylor also in our communications office, Alice Sims in our education office, and a number of people in our research office to support the growing research mission, including Lara Landry, Audrey Patrick, Martha Jones, and Sandy Woodside. There's growth also on the infrastructure and physical, as well as the personal and human resources. As anyone at McNair campus can see, the construction of our new Dan L. Duncan Cancer Center, O'Quinn Building, and, which will house our surgical oncology offices, is ongoing and slated for opening in February 23. And if you look slightly further to the west, you can see, unbelievably, the construction of the new TMC3 Research Park. And even more exciting, perhaps, is depicted on the top right. Dr. Klopman presented just last week plans for a new research and education building. Beautiful structure is depicted here that will be adjacent to the Jamal building. So many great and exciting things going on to support the infrastructure of the college, as well as our human resources, faculty, and staff components. As always, many, many honors amongst our faculty, too many even to mention completely, but I will just point out just a couple. Dr. Mills has been elected Vice President of the Society of Vascular Surgery, no doubt on his way to be president, a well-deserved honor for Joe, is a true worldwide leader of the vascular surgery. Dr. Silberfein, receiving the Young Alumnus Award from Baylor, and Dr. Frazier receiving the Scientific Achievement Award, essentially a Lifetime Achievement Award from the AATS. And finally, Dr. McCollum receiving the DeBakey Award in a ceremony here several months ago from the Michael E. DeBakey International Surgical Society. Literally too many other incomparable achievements, so I will pause just for a second so everyone can read through some of these. Dr. Chai, Dr. Maddox, Dr. Galvan, two board American College of Surgeons, Board of Governors, and many other achievements as well. Amongst the Baylor Awards, again, a banner year, both for Excellence in Patient Care Awards, Dr. McKenzie winning the Master Clinician Award, many Norton Rose winners, and our Women of Excellence pictured on the right side of the screen. Congratulations to all of our faculty with deserving great awards. Our residents, fellows, and students, likewise, many achievements and awards, including Kevin Wang being the Raleigh Ross Scholar this year, a number of academic awards, and really a tremendous reflection of the achievements of our residents as well. A number of promotions as well. Dr. Burt being promoted to professor, a number of associate professor promotions is depicted here, and in a first for the college, as far as we know, the first promotion or appointment of a advanced practice provider, Holly Clayton, to the rank of assistant professor, in really a program designed and trailblazed by our department. Some notable achievements on the St. Luke's side as well. Dr. Bill Fisher, in a first for Baylor College of Medicine, is the new secretary of the medical staff of Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center. To my knowledge, the first time a Baylor faculty member has ever been on the executive committee, the medical executive committee of Baylor St. Luke's. So congratulations to Bill. Hope you don't become president because we need you too much here, and that's just way too much work, Bill, so don't even think about it. Further, Dr. Camp being selected to be chair of the oncology service line on the medical executive committee, and within the department, the appointment of Holly Clayton as director of our advanced practice providers to help coordinate the efforts of our 60 APPs. Let's turn to our missions, talk about healthcare a bit. This year really, I think, is a reflection of what has become almost a insanely DeBakey-esque record of excellence and innovation. It is literally too many things to talk about on even one slide, but just to highlight a few of the true innovations going on within our department. Ray Grogan continues to lead the world, literally, in his transoral scarless thyroid and parathyroid program. He's joined by Dr. Sula Burke and now Phoebe Zhang. They are one of only 10 high-volume programs worldwide, number 2 in the United States, performing literally 25% of all U.S. cases performed here at Baylor. Dr. Reese and the plastic surgery team, combining and collaborating with Alex Roper and the neurosurgeons, literally inventing a new field of surgery called spinal plastic surgery, a way to access challenging orthopedic deformities of the spine, having performed 60 of the 110 cases worldwide, one of only 4 institutions. Robotic heart surgery has created a new Moore's Law, I would say. It seems that Dr. Liao doubles the rate of his doing robotic cases every 6 months. Remember, just 2 years ago, we were talking about his first 100 cases. Then sometime this past year, his 200th case, and Ken emailed me just a couple of days ago and said he's already up to 250 cases, and just a staggering growth of our program, and really a reflection of what is possible in terms of developing surgery programs here at Baylor and Baylor St. Luke's. Results are incredible and a true reflection of Ken's tremendous talent. In terms of innovation in our surgical oncology program, Dr. Iqbal has now done nearly a dozen transanal colectomy procedures, essentially in the theme of scarless surgery. And Dr. Jesse Yu is introducing lymphedema surgery, a new, really probably to the entire medical center, for patients with problems with significant lymph node and lymphedema problems. Our bariatric surgery program, which literally did not exist as a formal program only a couple of years ago, is now doing 150 cases on an annualized basis, has received not only American College of Surgeons accreditation, but in the past year, Blue Cross Center distinction as well. And again, another example is hard to believe that it's just one after another. Dr. Brian Burt continues to advance the thoracic outlet syndrome robotic program, which he, amongst just a handful of others, pioneered worldwide. And the thoracic division overall has now done incredibly over 1,000 robotic cases. Just talking to Sean Groth just the other day, and I remember 3 or 4 years ago when this was all brand new, and each case took 8 hours or longer, and now they're just absolutely routine. Our heart and lung transplant programs, to wrap up this panel of distinction in terms of innovation, also just amazing progress led by Dr. Gabe Lohr in the last 2 years. We, of course, remembered the great challenges that we were facing just 3 or 4 years ago. We are now on pace to be the busiest lung transplantation program, not only at the medical center, but one of the top 10 in the United States, with outstanding results, an O/E ratio of about 0.8. On the clinical and research level, also Gabe and his team are just innovating in tremendous ways, not only with ex vivo lung perfusion, but now in a portable ECMO program that is truly world class. We heard a couple of weeks ago at our grand rounds that Gabe and his team are leaders nationally and internationally in COVID transplants, and really just a reflection of just excellence in the lung transplant program I think we can all be proud of. And finally, of course, heart transplantation, which again, just 2 or 3 years ago, very challenging days that took tremendous leadership to advance. And today we stand at a program that has an O/E ratio of 0.63, spectacular. Also on pace to become one of the busiest programs at the medical center and top 25% in the country, and tremendous work with Alexis Shafee and Dr. Liao leading this program in terms of enrollment in a VAD program with the new EverHeart next generation VAD, which we are national leaders in enrollment, and a completely novel concept. Anyone who has watched, remembers back to residency, or for those not in the operating room, watches movies, putting the organ transplant on ice in a bucket. Now, incredibly, ex vivo heart perfusion allows us to perfuse the heart to sustain it during transplantation. And again, we are national leaders in this effort. In terms of the more generic, our leadership at our main hospital affiliate, Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center, we continue to lead in terms of the positions we hold and support. These include 4 medical executive committee membership positions, a hospital executive operation committee, which we helped found, and our retention of or lead in performing 53% of all Baylor surgery volume at St. Luke's and a third of all Baylor St. Luke's volume overall. A number of centers of excellence and milestones outside recognition, a robust and growing robotics program. And for the first time ever, at least in recent memory, and a real credit to Dr. Fisher's leadership and the commitment of all of our faculty, O/E ratios for length of stay, complications, and readmissions below 1, which I am sure is the best that has been maybe in the entire history of St. Luke's, quite honestly. This is all reflected in our role and engagement in a number of U.S. News and World Report recognitions, including those for heart surgery at 17, GI surgery at 21, the first time ever cancer ranking coming in at 27, and high performance recognition for pulmonary and lung surgery program. So really tremendous accomplishments. As a moment of spotlight to even further detail and focus on the excellence and innovation of our programs, as one of many possible examples, I wish I could talk about all of them, our abdominal transplant program is carving out new milestones in different ways. Dr. Goss and team recently came back from Sweden. I suspect there may be some ulterior motives for this. Took a nice trip abroad, but have learned and are getting ready to perform the first living uterus transplants, obviously for women who are wishing but cannot have children, in what will be an incredibly exciting new chapter in the abdominal transplantation program, and led by Dr. Tal Gava, and truly a milestone in biomedical engineering. Her collaboration is the main PI here on campus of an artificial kidney, which combines biomedical engineering with tissue and cell transplant bioreactors to allow patients to walk around with portable kidneys. This is science fiction that is really happening here on campus, and I think we can all be tremendously proud of that. Likewise, to look at our transplant programs as a whole, our one-year patient survival and graft survival is, for all 4 programs, is less than 1. And according to Dr. Goss, first time we have achieved this milestone across the entire campus. Again, a great reflection of the accomplishments of our program. Our F.A.C.S program, which is as we all know, is an ambulatory office-based program, is expanding. We now have 2 rooms and a 4-bedded recovery room led by Dr. James Sulebarek, Dr. Zach Pallister, and Jackie Oloet, and we're expecting some great things in the coming year from our F.A.C.S program, and with Yvonne Berry's leadership, working with a clinical practice committee, great new access for our patients with education materials supported by Amanda May, live answer, and with Yvonne's effort, a very robust staff onboarding program that will smooth and ease transitions. Quality improvements across the campus, in fact, include efforts led by both our residents and our resident ICU communications program to make sure there's good integration of information sharing in our critically ill patients, an effort led by Kevin Wang. Dr. Iqbal's efforts in leading our prehab and post-op early ambulation programs, and a better integration of our clinic practice, again, Yvonne Berry's contributions, to make sure all of our interactions with our patients and with each other are smooth, comprehensive, and as faultless or errorless as possible to ensure the safety of our patients. And finally, just a few weeks ago, we conducted our futility workshop to look at the challenging problems of end-of-life patients and how to deal with these issues holistically, comprehensively, to support not only our patients, but ourselves as well. We continue our expansion further, and in the past year, we really broke through a threshold, and now are, with Dr. McDevitt's support, have outpatient programs in clinics across the Common Spirit Health network, including what will be a breast surgery program led by Stacy Carter in the Woodlands, an endocrine program out in Sugar Land, and Dr. Galani's efforts to establish a vascular surgery program at a patient's hospital in Pasadena. Other efforts include enhanced access, or MZ-CAMP, taking the lead in this to make sure there's full integration, working with our colleagues at Baylor Medicine, so that referring physicians and patients all have the best access possible reaching our patients. Turning to our affiliates at Ben Taub, led by Dr. Wilson, Dr. Silverfine, we again are top 5 nationally in terms of the TQIP accreditation and a scoring of our trauma program. Dr. Wilson, with an act of enormous managerial skill, worked with Dr. Medina, the CEO of the hospital, to completely resolve what had been a vexing problem of a trauma diversion, which allowed our renewed 3-year accreditation of our trauma program. With Dr. Ganta's leadership, we introduced a TAVR program to Ben Taub, and of course, Ben Taub is our other program, successfully manage our COVID surgery portfolio, including the establishment with Matt Wall's support of a triage program to make sure the right patients got taken care of in as timely a fashion as possible. Texas Children, again, goes without speaking with Dr. Kiswani's leadership, amongst our other division chiefs, Dr. Calderon, in the cardiac surgery program, continue to excel. Of course, U.S. News World Report, top ranked in one of the busiest children's surgery programs in the world. Likewise, with Dr. Awad and Dr. Krista Chai's leadership, great things continue to go on at the VA Medical Center, including, importantly, what will be one of only 4 heart transplant programs led by Dr. Shafi that will be started this year at the VA in what will be a very, very exciting milestone for that program. Let me turn to education, and again, I think a largely incredibly exciting story. We hope this year to once again expand our general surgery categorical portfolio of residents from 9 to 10, previously at 8. This will make us one of the top 5 largest programs in the United States. We this year successfully launched an integrated I-6 Cardiothoracic Residency program. Our residents, again, excelled at the Academic Surgical Congress, coming in at number 2, ahead of Paul, Michigan, just for the record. And again, our residents continue to excel both in your ABSITE scores and evidence of your didactic knowledge base. And importantly, and we could not be more gratified and appreciative to see the continually rising scores on our ACGME resident survey, perhaps most significantly including a 92% overall satisfaction rate, but equally significantly improvements in many key indicators, and perhaps most importantly, exceeding national averages or national standards in terms of fear of retribution, appropriate supervision, and expectation of non-educational obligations. 3 novel programs we introduced this year in medical education, led by Dr. Silberfein, Dr. Vera, include our Worst Nightmares program, which we've talked about previously. It continues to be a fan favorite. Our trainees calling it phenomenal and the best lectures we have, and our thanks to our faculty experts for this program. Our movie night, where residents in a de-identified way can compare notes and check out how everyone is doing in a very informal and social setting to, again, get out of the silo of not being able to share information on technique and performance, and what I think has been a tremendously successful program. Finally, and as a reminder that we need to look at our growth and development of our trainees beyond the operating room in the clinic, we this year launched and had our first book club in terms of leadership and management development. And I was thrilled to have a breakfast meeting with our junior residents, and we've begun a series of readings and reviews of a number of some of my favorite leadership books, including Grit, Extreme Execution, and Team of Teams. And I look forward to continue with this essentially notes program to help the development of our residents and trainees, again, beyond the operating room. A tremendously important new development has been the introduction of Dr. Stacy and Carter and Dr. Catherine Seeger as our co-directors of our didactic program, taking the baton from Dr. Barshis. And Stacy and Catherine are just an absolutely phenomenal job, and residents, I think, have very, very much appreciated all the great work that Drs. Carter and Seeger have put in to making sure we have a robust, intense, and a very, very comprehensive didactic program, and we look forward to the results of that, hopefully, in this year's ABSITE exams and pass rates on our board exams. Dr. Vasudevan has completely re-engineered our research track program, is depicted here. We have a tremendous amount of activity going on in terms of training lectures, workshops that are being rolled out to our general resident population as well. As part of that research program, this year, Jared Mortis put together a Design Innovation Fellowship. This is being conducted at CDI, led by one of our faculty members, Dr. Billy Cohn, which is an amazing opportunity to combine research, innovation, and commercialization of products. And we hope and expect that that will be an ongoing part of our portfolio. Everyone knows the tremendous accomplishments of Dr. Rachel Davis and our global surgery research residents who developed a unique, in the United States, global surgery residency program, still the only NRMP match-listed program that exists. This year we've inducted or introduced, welcomed our 7th resident to this program, with Rachel matriculating now onto our faculty as Associate Program Director. We're excited to see the program transition a bit, or pivot, from lessons learned abroad, taking care of the underserved, to taking care of the underserved in our own community. The program is truly a trendsetter, a milestone maker, and is really received attention worldwide, as reflected in our invited lectures, or not our invited lectures, but our residents' invited lectures around the world at the WHO, and their 17 academic publications to date. Finally, and I think the health and robustness of our graduate medical education program is translated into the care and well-being of our students as well, as depicted on the left. Our number of what had been really quite negative mistreatment comments from our students about our department, embarrassing to say, in earlier years, is now essentially diminished close to zero. Without doubt, a reflection of that is the increasing number of students, Baylor students, interested in joining general surgery residencies. I think a tremendous reflection of the skills and affability and dedication of our residents and faculty to UME education, and also is reflected in our clerkship experience metrics depicted at the top right. So we look forward to the leadership of Dr. Yesenia Rojas, who's doing a tremendous job working with Alice Sims on our UME program for continued positive trends in our UME direction. The third of our 3 fundamental academic missions is, of course, research. And again, here, too, has been a banner year. As depicted on the top left, our research funding this year literally went through the roof, from about $11 million last year to $18 million. This is just an absolute reflection of the tremendous talent and dedication of our physician scientists throughout the department, as depicted on the top right. Our Blue Ridge credited NIH funding continues to go up. Unfortunately, other programs do as well, but we're expecting, as I'll talk about in a minute, to reach top 25 in the next couple of years with this growth and trajectory. Across the board, our metrics continuing to improve. I'll not go through them all, but in terms of grant dollars accrued, clinical trials managed, and grants managed, just tremendous success across the board. The engine for this, beyond our faculty, is, of course, our Office for Surgical Research, which in the last 10 years has grown from 5 to 55 clinical support FTEs, all supported by revenue generated by our research grants, and really a tremendous reflection of our commitment to support our physician scientists in the department. 2 manifestations of that effort includes our grant submission program, which began 2 years ago, both in terms of the mechanics of how to get a grant in, and our very, very successful grant review program led by Scott Lemaire and Laura Landry. In total, we have had 50 grants reviewed by from 25 different faculty. 33 of these ultimately ended up being submitted, and 33% of the grants submitted were either funded or of a fundable score, generating $5.4 million in revenue, really a percent of success that is staggering in terms of a positive reflection of this process. We likewise have a new industry-sponsored clinical trials activation process, again led by Christina Brewer and Lara Landry, which we hope will smooth the way in terms of activating clinical trials. Coming soon, led by Rashad Muhammad, will be a PI financial report program and a clinical trials dashboard led by our Office for Surgical Research, which again will hopefully make life easier for our physician researchers. Our NIH T32 program is now in its 4th year of advancement, accruing a total of almost a dozen resident trainees, physician scientists, and scholars performing a number of very, very exciting research efforts detailed here. And hopefully coming in the next year or two will be our 2nd T32 in surgical oncology to fund the research efforts of our trainees. led by Dr. Troutner. Both the T32 program and our SHARE program continue to generate great successes. And our SHARE program, which is essentially a health services research effort in collaboration with iQuest, as depicted here, has generated a total of $4.4 million in HSR research. Finally, in terms of internal programs, our Intramural seed program is now in its 8th year. It is donated $340,000 in seed grant support to our faculty and in a new program to our APPs as well. In a staggering return on investment, that $340,000 has generated $6.4 million in terms of grant support, a 26% success rate. And for the mathematicians in the room, that represents an 1,882% return on investment. Not too bad. So that is a reflection of what we're doing internally, but we've also decided to go externally. And as I think everyone knows, both our seed grant program with Rice, which is in its 4th year, and our brand new seed grant program, the Department of Molecular and Cellular Biology, create very exciting opportunities to advance both precision medicine and accessing our learning health systems environment, and has generated a number of grant and program project efforts as depicted here. Finally, with the arrival of Livia Eberlein to be our new director of Instinct program, we think we can build on already significant successes in taking the concept of taking faculty experience and ideas in a learning health system environment and translating them into prototypes that are even potentially commercializable, as depicted on the top right. Instinct awarded its first prototype device development grant to Dr. Ray Grogan to develop the instrumentation needed for transoral thyroid surgery. Depicted on the bottom right, Dr. Brian Burt has actually successfully launched a commercial company called, I think it's called Car Wash, which is a thoracoscopic lens cleaning apparatus that is tremendously exciting, a real reflection of Dr. Burt's grit. And taking this from idea to actual commercial product. Our publications, as mentioned, 450 in total, 24 in high-impact journals, as depicted here. Again, literally too many to mention in detail, but presented for you to review. And likewise, our new grants continue a great trend of funding the research efforts of our department, generating $12 million in new grants in total. So what's the future? I think with a base of about $15 million in cardiovascular research support, $14 million in oncology research support, and about $2.5 million up till now as a base, actually somewhat more than that, about $4.5 million in HSR research. We have a very sound foundation to really advance our research programs to the next level. And what I would propose to you is depicted in the bottom right, that while we are currently will be at about 33, we predict with $4.8 million in Blue Ridge NIH funding. If we were able to accrue probably not more than 3 or 4 R01s, about $1.5 million in NIH funding, we would skip Cornell, which I certainly have an interest in doing, and join the ranks of the top 25 programs in terms of research support. Of course, it's not about the number, it's about supporting the research efforts of our faculty and continuing that DeBakey-esque tradition of contributing to the advancement of medical science, and I could not be more excited in supporting this effort. The last of our mission areas, and the one that I'm going to spend the rest of my time focusing on, is both our outreach and our inclusion mission, which are, I think in this day and age, could not be more important. With the leadership of our communications office, we in social media continue to excel. On Facebook, we're the #1 ranked Department of Surgery, and Twitter, slightly behind, but less, but in the top 5, and continue to advance in both these areas. Our Instagram accounts led by our resident programs, also with about 1,700 followers. The DeBakey surgeon moniker being more commonly used. Our various and now vast communications portfolio generate about 31,000 monthly unique visits. Scott Holmes at work there on the digital media program, but a tremendous amount of work going on with Amanda Birdie and our communications team. Our CME conference program continues as well, generating about 1,000 virtual annual attendees this year. We hope, of course, to go back to a real world. But in any case, our continuing portfolio of CME efforts, another great opportunity to highlight and showcase the efforts and contributions, achievements of our faculty, as I've talked about. Stitch, our surgery blog, to my knowledge, remains the only department-based blog at Baylor College of Medicine, has now generated 50 blogs in total, 200,000 views, about triple what it was just last year. And again, is a great opportunity for all the faculty and residents to contribute, communicate, and share their knowledge and information, both internally and externally. And finally, in terms of outreach, our outreach in multimedia marketing continues to grow as well. Our newest addition, pictured on the bottom left, is our Michael E. DeBakey Department of Surgery event tent. So if you're going to have a backyard picnic, perhaps, or probably more realistically, if you'd like the department to help you sponsor a walk or a event booth at one of the professional society or community interest events, we are glad to now share that, which we have in-house. And that is one component of our portfolio that includes local and national media attention, publications in lay media, and the like. So finally, let me turn internally and really the heart of what I want to talk about today, which is our taking care not of those around us and our patients in advancing the academic missions that we're involved with, but taking care of ourselves. And in one part, this begins, or for me, continues in terms of what has been a wonderful experience for me and hopefully for our staff as well, supported and led by Ashley Banning, which is our brown bag lunch program. For those of you not familiar, we began this about a year ago, and basically I sit down over lunch with groups of 3 of 10 of our staff. We're not faculty, not trainees, people who help us every day get through the day and make sure our work is done, our patients are well taken care of. These have been eye-opening, been a great opportunity to have robust communication with everyone in our department. And there have been a number of themes that have come out depicted here, which I think will resonate with everyone. The first, in a department of 550 members, which is very large, very hard to integrate. We all need to do better personally and systematically in terms of our communication, our integration, our inclusion. Some of the efforts depicted there that we've already begun, we'll talk about. Our Kudos program and several other programs I'll talk about in a second. We need to do better on terms of our onboarding. We have new faculty, new residents, new trainees, new staff show up, and we say, go to work. We don't really tell them what to do or how to do it, and we expect them to succeed, and of course that is not tenable. And we are going to spend a lot of time focusing on staff onboarding this year, as well in terms of our promotion, advancement, and support of all of our staff to make sure they understand the opportunities to grow within the department and be successful. And of course, all of the challenges of better integration with the hospital so that we do not deal with the stresses of our inability to perform as we need to. As the engines of this, integration and support internally, as I think everyone knows, 2 years ago, we began our Outreach and Inclusion Committee, then called the Social Equity Committee, led by Michelle Lohr, which has now grown into a larger faculty and staff support mechanism that will be the core body leading this efforts. This is now being joined by several additional staff councils, including our APP council, led by Sarah Morrissey and Zach Gray, our clinical staff council, represented and led by LaShawn Washington and Elizabeth Sanchez, and including our Elena Sanchez, sorry, including our non-APP staff and our staff council that will be led by Amanda May and LaShawn, really to give a voice, a forum, and an opportunity for all of us to make sure we're communicating well, expressing our concerns, and our ideas about how to do things better. So projects underway include, as mentioned, our staff promotion and professional development program, enhanced clinical practices, in-services, onboarding, mentoring, handbooks, lunch and learn series, so we all can share in the sharing of knowledge and information within the department. A successful program, a Kudos program to highlight and and focus on successes, good opportunities, and the like, and we look forward to continuing this program. And importantly, we look forward to continuing back to real-world opportunities to get together in social settings inside and outside of the medical campus. Importantly, as of yesterday, we received approval to have once again, our annual Christmas party, which will be December 21st at St. Arnold's, going back to a successful program before. And we look forward to welcoming the entire department to a chance to get together again in the real world and share in a social setting. Again, one of the other messages that came out through these meetings is just despite best efforts, and Jessica Baldwin and John Goss have worked arduously to make sure that our promotion process is well understood. Rashad and Paul have worked is likewise to the best of their ability to make sure that compensation is well understood, and yet we still fall short. So on December 9th, there will be both a promotion and compensation workshop for all faculty, and we'll likewise do similar for our non-faculty staff. Try to better communicate both of these what has been challenging and sometimes frustrating aspects of living and working in our department at Baylor, achieving. And finally, in terms of our financial mission, we are incredibly excited this year with Holly Shillstone's leadership to really turn the page on our efforts to recognize our faculty leaders and develop our endowment program. And this year we will be working to endow both the Charles H. McCollum Endowment Program, recognition of Charlie's great contributions over decades to this department, and David Sugarbaker Division of Thoracic Surgery to be named this winter in honor and memory of our beloved friend David Sugarbaker. Other programs in the work included the integration of the DeBakey International Surgical Society into the fabric of the department, a Grateful Patients program, and the full funding of other endowments under Holly's leadership. So finally, let me take the last few minutes to turn the page and talk again about where we started, which is a time to heal. And first of all, let me thank Scott Holmes again for this. For those of you who might not recognize it, this is the modern day version of Sisyphus and some of the challenges that we've faced over the past years. And I think we sort of all, to some degree, taken an attitude of let's turn the page, let's get back to normal. And of course, that's not as easy to do. Is just merely saying so. I think probably everyone in this room is aware of the concept now of the Great Resignation, which reflects both the reality and the actuality of people leaving work or tuning out or burning out. Some of the data is depicted here, but probably, and is noted here in terms of academics and healthcare, even more significantly, not just stopping working or leaving your job, but the stress and burnout and literally frustration and anger. Chronicle of Healthcare Education knows that 35% of us are literally reporting ourselves to be angry, compared to a third of that just 2 years ago in terms of our ability to deal with the workplace. The Kaiser Family Foundation said that there's a 16% increase in alcohol or drug use. Alcohol or drug use because of this problem. And unfortunately, when we need to communicate better, we're communicating less well. 60% of leaders rate themselves as effective communicators, not surprisingly, while 60% of the people they lead say they are not being communicated with at all. So a complete disconnect in terms of what we need to do and what we're actually accomplishing. An article in Nature that came out in March of this past year, again, highlights the real-world reality of burnout, the challenges of the workload, a concept that I think had in some sense been theoretical just a couple of years is tremendously real. And it's reflected in our own survey results, and I think this is a reflection of this problem. Whereas in 2019, our AAMC survey, overall faculty satisfaction was 84% and really was ahead of both our peers within the college and externally at other surgery departments. Across the board, as depicted on the right, we're down about 10 percentage points. And I hope it's not entirely a function of my failings or the department's failings, but I think realistically it's in no small part a reflection of these challenges we face. So in my own little personal world of introspection, I've had my own stress moment of sorts. And yes, this is my brother, Matthew S. Rosengart, the liberator of Britney Spears, and soon thereafter, My mother called me and said, "Your brother is a star." Well, thanks, Mom. But it did give me a moment to have some introspection, and think about what it's all about and what we do here, and my own thought. And so my last couple of slides are these moments of introspection. And what is it that we do here? And why am I very happy and proud for my brother, but just as happy and even gladder to be here doing what we do? And although there are many ways of looking at it, I'd like everyone to focus for a second on two. One is awe, and the other, which Gib Upchurch talked about just last week, is flow. What is awe? Most of us associate the wow emotion with something rare and beautiful, a sunrise, nature, music, or a spiritual experience. But people in our daily lives, and I'm looking at everyone in this room, can make us feel awe too. You don't need to go to a national park, it's in your workplace, David Yadin said in the Wall Street Journal this past year. And this is a picture of Dr. Liao after performing his 200th robotic surgery with his team. And I don't think there could be more awe than the feeling amongst that team in that room on that day. Likewise, flow. We heard a lot about that last week. What is flow? It's a feeling of ecstasy, great internal clarity, a sense of serenity. All of us know what that flow feels like when we're in the zone, in the operating room, or writing a grant, or taking care of our patients. It's a timelessness. It's a intrinsic motivation. Whatever produces flow becomes its own reward. It leads to a feeling of competence and higher productivity, innovation and development. These are wonderful things. This is not a new concept. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, or something like that, came up with this concept almost 50 years ago. This is not a new idea. It did not come with Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods. Enjoying doing your best while contributing to something beyond yourself is what flow and being in the zone is all about. How do we get there? With clear goals and progress, with clear and immediate feedback, with balance between perceived challenges and perceived skills, with challenges that stretch our skills, and with freedom from distractions. We do some of those things some of the time, but we certainly don't do all of those things all of the time. And that represents a true opportunity for all of us to enjoy the benefits and the sense of well-being that comes both from awe and flow. So how do we do that? I would say while we're working on developing those strengths and attributes in ourselves, we need to take care of each other. We try, we sometimes don't accomplish that. And I would argue that compassion as well as communication, patience for each other, our failings, our shortcomings, our ability to do everything right all of the time, and respect towards those goals are the CPR that will take us to the next level in terms of supporting our own well-being. So what are our next steps forward, and where would I like to end this annual report is what we're going to do, not about getting more research money, not about creating the new operation, but most importantly, taking care of each other. What are those challenges? We need to develop a greater sense of professional satisfaction, support our work-life balance, and avoid burnout. We need to advance personal and professional advancement opportunities so we feel good about why we're here and what we're doing. In a 550-member department, we need to enhance our connectivity. Despite our best efforts, we need to do it better. And most importantly, we need to continue to support what is the most valuable feature of our department. I think all of us are here because of this. This is the first and last thing I talk about when we're trying to recruit a new member to our department, the wonderful collegial and supportive culture that we all have developed and supported within our department, and of course, making sure that we are fairly supported for these things. So this is what I'd like to commit to and commit us to in the next year to help this concept of supporting each other. One is the selection and onboarding of a staff development director who's an expert in how to support staff and human resources, which the college has already approved on moving forward with. Empower staff council as our Outreach and Inclusion Committee to be the voice of all members of our department. Enhance our internal communications, even beyond our efforts so far to make sure we all understand what we're saying to each other, which more often than not is not the case. Improve our onboarding and development support, even create one from one brown bag lunch. We got the idea of having an apprenticeship model so people can look at new opportunities and grow personally and professionally, and include leadership training and mentorship programs so that we each can fulfill our greatest opportunities. We are going to go ahead and create greater transparency in terms of compensation, promotion, development, so that we all understand the challenges and the opportunities so we can all have flow. Even things that are new to our world, flexible work at home. That is another opportunity to create flow and realize our potential. And finally, create better opportunities for social and networking, so it's not all about all work all the time, with a little reflection on each and every one of ourselves holistically as a whole person. As a very, very small component of this, Amanda and Scott Holmes will be introducing soon the concept of our new social corner, yet to be named, that will create an opportunity to highlight, to talk about some of these things so we can share our new pet poodle, or our new grandchild, or our barbecue that we're having this weekend, or any accomplishment or anything going on, so that we can think of ourselves as individuals and not just as an APP or a surgeon or the like. And I think that's going to make us all healthier, more productive, and more successful in achieving our goals, achieving awe of each other and flow. So this, to me, we've done it and are doing it clinically. We're doing it in terms of having great educations. We've accomplished great things in research. To me, this is the most important thing that we can do in the next coming year. These are all continue to be a reflection of our core values: transparency, fairness, responsibility, accountability, and ownership, our 5 pillars for inspiration. And with all of that, I think we will continue to be in the tradition of DeBakey, a great department who make great contributions both to medicine at large and to each other. So once again, I thank you for the privilege of being your chair and the privilege for working with each and every member of this department. Thank you.